Every day you avoid setting real goals is another day wasted. Don't let laziness rob you of your potential. Setting goals is something we all know we should do. But the truth is, many of us don't give it the attention it truly deserves. We talk about our dreams, but we don't take the steps to turn them into reality, and that's a problem. If you're serious about changing your life, it starts with how you approach your goals. Too often, people are lazy when it comes to setting them. They either don't set them at all, or they do so half-heartedly and then wonder why nothing changes. But I'm here to tell you that your goals are everything. They are the roadmap to your future. And if you're not serious about setting them, you're not serious about the life you want to create. In this video, we're going to dive into why being lazy with your goals can hold you back, how to start setting goals with intention, and the steps you can take to make sure you're truly on track. This isn't about just dreaming, it's about doing. If you're ready to take your goals seriously and start moving forward, this video will change the way you think about your future. Stick around. The life you want is just one decision away, and it all starts with how you set your goals. Let's dive in. Number 1, the danger of being lazy with goals. Let's talk about something that holds a lot of people back. It's not a lack of talent. It's not bad luck. It's not because life is unfair. It's laziness when it comes to setting goals. I see it all the time. People say they want to be successful. They say they want to be wealthy. They say they want to be healthy, happy, and live a good life. But when you ask them about their goals, they have no clear answer. They give vague responses like, I just want to be better, or I want to make more money, or I want to be happier. But what does that really mean? That's the danger of being lazy with goals. If you're not clear about what you want, you'll never get it. If you don't take the time to define your goals, you'll spend your life drifting, moving in circles, wondering why you're not making progress. I've seen it happen too many times. People wake up one day and realize that years have gone by, and they're still stuck in the same place. They're still making the same mistakes, still struggling with the same problems, still wishing for a better life, but never doing anything about it. Laziness with goals doesn't just mean sitting around doing nothing. Sometimes it looks like staying busy but never making real progress. It looks like working hard, but on the wrong things. It looks like putting in effort, but without any direction. And that's why so many people feel frustrated. They're putting in the time, they're putting in the work, but they're not getting anywhere because they haven't set real, clear, meaningful goals. You can't build a great life by accident. You can't hope that things will just work out on their own. You have to take control. You have to decide what you want, and you have to commit to it. If you don't, life will decide for you. And let me tell you, when you let life decide for you, you don't always like where you end up. Think about it. If you get in your car and start driving without a destination in mind, where will you go? Anywhere, nowhere. You'll just keep driving until you run out of gas, and you might not even like where you end up. That's exactly how life works. If you don't set clear goals, you'll wake up one day and wonder, how did I get here? You'll look around and realize you've been going in circles, repeating the same patterns, dealing with the same struggles, because you never took the time to decide exactly where you wanted to go. Laziness with goals leads to regret, and regret is a heavy thing to carry. I've talked to a lot of people later in life who look back and wish they had been more serious about their goals. They wish they had set real targets and worked toward them with focus and discipline. They wish they had started sooner, pushed harder, and stayed consistent. But instead, they let years pass by without direction, and now they have to live with the weight of what could have been. But here's the good news. You don't have to make that mistake. You don't have to wake up one day full of regret. You can make a decision today to take your goals seriously. You can decide right now that you won't be lazy when it comes to designing your life. You can take control of your future, and you can start making real progress toward the things you want. The first step is to get clear. What do you really want? Not just a general idea, not just a vague dream. What do you actually want? Do you want to be financially free? How much money does that mean for you? Do you want to get in shape? What does that look like? Do you want to build a business? What kind of business? You have to be specific, because when you're specific, your brain starts to work in a different way. You start to see opportunities you never noticed before. You start to focus on the right things, instead of wasting time on distractions. Once you're clear, you have to commit. Setting a goal is not enough. A goal without commitment is just a wish, and a wish won't change your life. You have to decide that this is what you want, and you have to back that decision up with action. You have to make it a priority, because if you don't, life will get in the way. Distractions will come, challenges will show up, and if you're not fully committed, you'll let those things stop you. You also have to be willing to put in the work. This is where a lot of people fall off. They love the idea of success. They love the idea of having a great life. But when it comes to doing the hard work, when it comes to staying disciplined, when it comes to making sacrifices, they lose motivation. They start making excuses. And before they know it, they're right back where they started. That's what happens when you're lazy with goals. You never really push yourself. You never really challenge yourself. And because of that, you never really grow. But when you take your goals seriously, when you commit to them fully, you start to change. You start to develop the skills, the mindset, and the discipline that lead to success. You start to see real progress, and that progress builds momentum. It fuels you to keep going. One of the most dangerous things you can do is assume that you have all the time in the world, because you don't. Time moves fast. Life doesn't wait. And if you keep putting off your goals, if you keep telling yourself that you'll start tomorrow, you'll look up one day and realize that years have passed. Don't let that happen to you. Decide today that you're done being lazy with your goals. Decide today that you're going to take your future seriously. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter what mistakes you've made in the past. What matters is what you do from this point forward. You have the power to set strong goals. You have the power to take control of your life. And you have the power to create a future that you're proud of. But it starts with a decision to stop being lazy, to stop making excuses, and to start setting goals with purpose and determination. The moment you take your goals seriously, your life starts to change. You start to feel more focused. You start to make better decisions. You start to see real progress. And that progress gives you confidence. It gives you energy. It makes you excited to keep going. But you have to take that first step. Number 2, the power of clear, strong goals. If there's one thing that separates people who succeed from those who struggle, it's the power of having clear, strong goals. I've seen it time and time again. The people who make things happen in life, the ones who build something worthwhile, the ones who achieve financial freedom, good health, and personal fulfillment, these people have one thing in common. They know exactly what they want. But too many people never take the time to define their goals. They talk about wanting to be successful, but they don't have a clear picture of what success looks like. They say they want to improve their life, but they haven't taken the time to sit down and figure out what that actually means for them. And because of that, they spend years feeling lost, frustrated, and stuck in the same place. That's what happens when you don't have clear goals. You drift. You move from one thing to the next without a real sense of purpose. You work hard, but you don't make real progress. You stay busy, but you don't feel fulfilled. And eventually, you start wondering why things never seem to change, why you keep running into the same problems, why you always feel like you're falling behind. But when you set clear, strong goals, everything changes. Suddenly, you're not just going through the motions, you're moving with intention. You wake up in the morning with a sense of purpose because you know exactly what you're working toward. You start making better decisions because you have a clear direction. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter because you're focused on what does. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with goals is because they don't take the time to be specific. They say things like, I want to be successful, or I want to make more money, or I want to be happier. But those aren't real goals. Those are vague ideas. Success means different things to different people. Making more money could mean an extra $100 or an extra million. Being happier is a great desire, but what does that look like for you? You have to define it. If you say you want to be financially free, how much money do you need to reach that point? If you want to be healthier, what exactly does that mean? Losing weight, gaining muscle, having more energy. You need to be specific, because the more specific you are, the easier it becomes to create a plan. A strong goal isn't just an idea in your mind. It's something you can write down in clear terms. It's something you can measure. If your goal is to save $10,000 in the next year, that's specific. That gives you something to work toward. That helps you figure out exactly how much you need to save each month, each week, and each day to make it happen. That gives you a target. And when you have a target, you can aim for it. Another reason people struggle with goals is because they don't connect their goals to something meaningful. They set goals because they think they should, not because they truly care about them. And when you don't have an emotional connection to your goal, it's easy to lose motivation. You have to ask yourself, why does this matter to me? If you want to build a business, why? Is it because you want financial freedom? Is it because you want to take care of your family? Is it because you want to make an impact? If you want to get in shape, why? Is it because you want to feel better? Is it because you want to have more confidence? Is it because you want to be around for your kids and live a long, healthy life? When your goals are tied to something that truly matters to you, you won't give up so easily. When challenges come, and they will, you won't quit at the first sign of difficulty. Because you're not just working toward a goal. You're working toward something that means something to you. Once you have clear goals, you have to commit to them. A goal without commitment is just a wish, and wishes don't change your life. Decisions do. When you commit to a goal, you stop making excuses. You stop letting distractions pull you away. You stop saying, I'll do it tomorrow, because you know that every day matters. Commitment means showing up, even when you don't feel like it. It means sticking to the plan, even when it gets hard. It means holding yourself accountable, even when no one else is watching. Because here's the truth. Nobody is going to do it for you. Nobody is going to wake you up in the morning and make sure you're putting in the work. Nobody is going to push you when you feel like quitting. That's on you. And the people who succeed are the ones who take full responsibility for their goals. A strong goal is also realistic, but challenging. Some people set goals that are so unrealistic that they give up before they even start. Others set goals that are too small, and they never push themselves to grow. The key is to find a balance. Your goals should stretch you. They should push you outside of your comfort zone. But they should also be achievable if you're willing to put in the effort. If you've never exercised before, setting a goal to run a marathon next month might not be realistic, but setting a goal to run a mile every day for the next month, that's something you can work toward. If you're in debt, making $1 million by next year might not be realistic, but setting a goal to pay off your smallest debt in the next 3 months, that's something you can do. When your goals challenge you but still feel within reach, you stay motivated, you see progress, you build momentum, and that momentum keeps you going. The last thing you need to do is track your progress. A goal without tracking is just a guess. You need to know if you're moving in the right direction. If you set a goal to lose 20 pounds in 3 months, you should be checking in regularly to see how you're doing. If you set a goal to read 20 books this year, you should be keeping track of how many you've finished. Tracking helps you stay focused. It helps you see where you're making progress and where you need to adjust. And it gives you a sense of accomplishment when you hit milestones along the way. When you set clear, strong goals and you commit to them fully, you start to take control of your life. You stop waiting for things to change, and you start making things happen. You stop drifting, and you start moving with purpose. And that feeling, knowing that you're in control, knowing that you're building something meaningful, that feeling is worth every bit of effort. Number 3, break your goals into small steps. When you think about setting goals, one of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to take on too much at once. They create a massive list of things they want to accomplish and expect it all to happen overnight. But the truth is, achieving big goals requires a plan. And a big part of that plan is breaking your goals down into small, manageable steps. You've probably heard the saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. But this isn't just a catchy phrase. It's a simple truth about how we accomplish anything. If you're trying to run a marathon, but haven't run a day in your life, trying to go out and run 26 miles on your first day isn't just unrealistic. It's probably going to leave you frustrated, injured, and ready to quit. But if you break that goal down into smaller steps, maybe starting with running for 5 minutes every day, then increasing it by 5 minutes each week, then you're building the foundation for success. The first thing you need to do is get real about where you are right now. If you want to be financially successful but you're drowning in debt, you can't jump from being broke to owning a house in the next 6 months. It's just not going to happen unless you break it down into smaller, achievable steps. Maybe your first step is creating a budget. Maybe it's cutting back on unnecessary spending. Maybe it's saving $100 every month. Whatever it is, start small and start now. Progress comes with consistency. Breaking goals into small steps gives you clarity. It takes this massive, overwhelming mountain and turns it into a series of manageable hills that you can climb, one step at a time. It allows you to focus on the present moment, instead of feeling overwhelmed by the distance between where you are now and where you want to be. When you break your goals down into small steps, you also get a sense of accomplishment. Every time you hit a milestone, even a small one, it gives you the momentum to keep going. If you're training for a marathon, the first time you run a mile without stopping is a huge victory. Then when you reach 2 miles, that's another win. And when you cross the 10-mile mark, you're that much closer to your goal, and the progress you've made is tangible. Small wins are powerful. They build confidence. They keep you motivated, and they remind you that your goal is possible. The more small steps you take, the more you'll realize that the big goal isn't as intimidating as it seemed when you first set it. Suddenly, that huge goal is just a collection of small, doable steps that, when added together, will take you exactly where you want to go. Another benefit of breaking goals into smaller steps is that it makes the process more enjoyable. Big goals like losing weight or getting out of debt can feel overwhelming and discouraging, especially when you don't see immediate results. But when you break your goal into smaller chunks, you can celebrate the small victories along the way. You might not see huge changes overnight, but if you keep taking one step at a time, those small victories will add up. For example, if your goal is to lose 50 pounds, don't focus solely on that number. Instead, focus on your first 5 pounds. When you hit that, celebrate it. Give yourself credit for the work you've put in. Celebrate the fact that you're getting healthier and moving closer to your goal. Then when you lose another 5 pounds, do the same thing. With every small success, you'll keep building momentum, and the journey will feel a lot less daunting. But breaking down goals into smaller steps also helps you stay flexible. Life happens. Things don't always go as planned. You may hit some bumps along the way, and that's okay. The beauty of breaking goals into smaller steps is that you can adjust as needed. If something isn't working, you don't have to completely abandon your goal. You just have to figure out which step to take next. Let's say you've committed to saving $200 every month, but one month you're hit with an unexpected expense. Instead of abandoning your goal, break it down again. Can you save $150 this month? Can you save $100? The key is not to get discouraged by setbacks, but to keep adjusting and moving forward. Small steps are more forgiving. They give you the space to make adjustments without losing sight of the bigger picture. When you break down your goals into small, achievable steps, you also create a plan. A plan gives you direction. It keeps you on track. It keeps you accountable. Because a goal without a plan is just a wish. You can want something all day long, but if you don't know how to get there, then you're just hoping for things to magically happen. You need a map, and breaking your goals down into steps is like drawing that map. One of the most powerful things about breaking down your goals is that it keeps you focused on what's next, not what's ahead. When you're looking at the whole mountain, it can be easy to get discouraged. But when you're only focused on the next step, you're not thinking about the whole climb. You're just thinking about the next place to put your foot. And as long as you keep taking those steps, you will eventually reach the top. The goal isn't to make things easier, it's to make things possible. You see, when you break your goals into smaller, more manageable chunks, you take the impossible and turn it into something you can do. And that's when things start to happen. That's when you begin to see real progress. But remember, breaking goals down is not about lowering your standards or making things too easy. It's about creating a pathway to success. It's about doing the work consistently and making sure that each step is leading you toward the end goal. You have to be diligent. You have to be persistent. But if you're willing to commit to those small steps, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. Number 4, be specific about what you want. If you want to achieve something meaningful, you need to be specific about what you want. And that's where many people fall short. They set vague, general goals, like I want to get better at my job or I want to be healthier. But they don't actually define what that means. What does better really look like? What does healthier mean for you? These general terms leave too much room for uncertainty, and uncertainty doesn't lead to action. When you're not specific, you can easily get off track. Imagine saying, I want to get fit, but not knowing how or where to start. What does that really mean? Does it mean losing a certain amount of weight, running a specific distance, feeling stronger, or having more energy? Being vague about your goals just leads to confusion, frustration, and ultimately, inaction. You might get started, but without a clear picture of exactly what you want, it's easy to get discouraged when things don't go according to plan. Specificity is powerful because it gives you clarity. It helps you focus. When you're clear about what you want, every action you take moves you closer to that goal. You have a target, something to aim for, something you can track. It turns the abstract into the concrete. If your goal is to lose 20 pounds by the end of the year, you have a concrete target. It's measurable, it's clear, and it's much easier to break down into smaller steps than a vague get healthier goal. The key is to ask yourself, what exactly do I want? And what does success look like? If you want to improve your career, ask yourself what success means to you. Does it mean getting a promotion, making more money, gaining more responsibilities, or becoming an expert in your field? When you define success clearly, you make it easier to create a plan and take the steps needed to get there. Take weight loss, for example. If you say, I want to lose weight, that's a start, but it's not specific enough. How much weight? How long will it take? What's your target number? When will you measure your progress? Getting specific with your weight loss goal might sound like, I want to lose 15 pounds in 3 months by working out 3 times a week and eating a balanced diet. Now that's specific. It gives you something to track and something you can work towards. You can now break it down into steps like scheduling your workouts, planning your meals, tracking your progress each week, and adjusting your approach if things aren't working. Let's talk about the importance of measuring your progress. When you're clear on what you want, you can track your progress, which keeps you motivated. When I was starting out in my own career, I set very specific goals. I knew exactly what I wanted, and I had a clear picture of what success looked like. That clarity made it easier for me to keep going even when things got tough, because I had a clear target to aim for, and it made it easier to break my goal down into smaller, manageable steps. This idea of being specific is just as important in the small details as it is in the big picture. For example, instead of saying, I want to read more books, be specific about how many books you want to read each month, or what types of books you want to read. Do you want to read 2 books a month, 1 book a week, or a specific number by the end of the year? If you want to read more, setting a concrete target gives you something to work toward. It gives you structure. It's much easier to read more when you know exactly how many books you want to read. This also works when it comes to your career or business goals. Instead of saying, I want to get better at my job, think about what specific skills you need to develop. Is it improving your communication skills, becoming more organized, mastering a specific tool or technology? If you want to get a raise, what is the specific criteria your boss is looking for? Do you need to hit specific performance targets, or develop a certain skill set to qualify for a promotion? When you're specific about what you want to improve, you can create a concrete plan to reach that goal, whether it's taking a class, getting feedback from a mentor, or focusing on a particular area of performance at work. Being specific is also key when it comes to setting financial goals. If you're struggling with saving money, don't just say, I want to save more. What does that mean? How much do you want to save? Do you have a target amount, like saving $5,000 in the next 6 months? Or do you want to save a certain percentage of your income each month? By being specific, you make it clear what's required, and you create a roadmap that makes it easier to take action. Specificity in financial goals also helps you identify the steps necessary to achieve that goal, whether it's cutting back on expenses, finding new ways to earn money, or setting up an automatic savings plan. Another benefit of being specific is that it helps you stay accountable. When you have a clear goal, it's easier to track your progress and know when you're off track. Accountability keeps you honest. It forces you to check in with yourself and evaluate whether or not you're doing the things you need to do to achieve your goal. Without specific goals, there's nothing to hold you accountable to. You might say, I want to be healthier, but there's no real way to measure your progress or know when you've succeeded. But if you say, I want to lose 10 pounds in 2 months by eating healthier and exercising, now you can measure your progress, track your actions, and hold yourself accountable. When you set a clear and specific goal, it gives you the focus you need to move forward. It narrows your energy and attention down to what really matters. You don't waste time chasing after vague ideas or spinning your wheels. You know exactly where you're going and what you need to do to get there. Without a specific goal, it's easy to waste time on activities that don't move you closer to what you want. But when you know exactly what you want, your actions become laser-focused on making that goal a reality. Setting specific goals also gives you confidence. When you know exactly what you're working toward, you're less likely to get overwhelmed or discouraged. It helps you stay motivated because you have a clear target to hit. The more specific your goal, the easier it is to measure success and see progress. And every small step forward gives you more confidence that you're on the right track. You start to believe in yourself and in your ability to achieve what you set out to do. As you continue to set more specific goals, you'll notice something else happening. You'll start to gain momentum. As you hit those milestones, big and small, you'll feel more energized and motivated to keep going. You'll start to see the results of your efforts, and that will drive you to work even harder. The more specific you get, the clearer the path becomes. Number 5. Make your goals challenging but attainable. Setting goals that challenge you is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. We all have dreams and ambitions. But if those dreams aren't pushing us to stretch beyond what we're comfortable with, they're not going to lead to real growth. When you set goals that are too easy, you're not giving yourself the chance to reach your full potential. You're not forcing yourself to rise to the occasion. But on the flip side, goals that are too easy can also be a trap. They make you feel good in the short term, but they don't force you to dig deep and develop the skills, mindset, or discipline that's going to move you forward in life. If you're aiming for something that's too small, you're selling yourself short. It's like setting a goal to just finish a race without caring about the time. You'll get there eventually, but you won't really know what you're capable of. You'll just coast along. Real growth, real achievement happens when you set goals that push you to work harder than you've ever worked before. Goals that make you uncomfortable. Goals that make you stay up at night thinking about the next step. But these are the goals that bring results. Think about any significant achievement in your life. Was it easy? No. Achieving something big requires effort, persistence, and sometimes sacrifice. Whether you're aiming to grow your business, lose weight, or improve your skills, the goals that challenge you are the ones that get you excited. They get you out of bed in the morning and keep you working late into the night. They make you feel alive because deep down you know they're going to help you grow in ways you never thought possible. But let's also talk about the other side of this. You don't want to set yourself up for failure with goals that are so far out of reach that they're discouraging. It's a balance. The goal should be challenging, but it should still feel achievable. You should believe that with the right effort, focus, and perseverance, you can make it happen. If you set goals that are so difficult that they feel impossible, you're setting yourself up for frustration. That's why it's important to push yourself, but not to the point where you feel like you're drowning. Take a moment and ask yourself, what would happen if you didn't set goals that challenge you? What if you played it safe and only went after things that felt easy or comfortable? You would likely stay stuck. You would plateau, and your growth would stop. When you set goals that stretch you, you're forcing yourself to rise to the challenge. You'll learn new skills, push through doubts, and gain experiences that will stay with you forever. You're going to look back and realize that those moments when you thought about giving up were the exact moments that transformed your life. The thing is, growth happens when you're outside your comfort zone. It happens when you're faced with something that requires you to be better, to do more, and to give everything you've got. Without those kinds of goals, you can easily fall into a pattern of mediocrity. You start to feel like you're just getting by, doing what's expected, but not really making progress. And let's be honest, that's not the kind of life you want. That's not the kind of life you deserve. You deserve to feel like you're moving forward every single day. And challenging goals are what create that momentum. So how do you know when a goal is challenging enough? First, it's about the feeling it gives you. Does it scare you a little? Does it make you feel like, This is big, but I think I can do it. If the answer is yes, then you're on the right track. Challenging goals should stretch your capabilities and force you to think bigger than you've ever thought before. They should push you to find solutions you never considered. And while you might not know exactly how you'll reach that goal, you'll have the confidence and drive to figure it out along the way. For example, let's say you want to start your own business. That's a big goal, right? It's going to require a lot of work, sacrifice, and time. But if you set a goal like, I want to make $100,000 in revenue in my first year of business, that's a challenge. That's a goal that will make you step up and figure out exactly how you're going to get there. You might not know every step at the beginning, and that's okay. What's important is that the goal forces you to think big and put a plan in place to get there. It will push you to take action and make the right decisions. On the other hand, a goal like, I want to make $10,000 in revenue in my first year, might not be challenging enough. It doesn't require you to stretch or reach for something beyond what you've done before. It's not going to drive you to innovate, learn new skills, or grow in the way you need to grow. But when you set a goal that's bigger, like $100,000, it pushes you to think creatively. It challenges you to step out of your comfort zone and tackle obstacles you might not have considered. When you set challenging goals, you're also teaching yourself perseverance. You'll encounter setbacks, obstacles, and failures along the way. But instead of letting those challenges stop you, you learn to push through them. You learn to get back up, keep going, and find another way to make it happen. Challenging goals teach you how to deal with adversity and keep moving forward, even when it feels tough. Another important aspect of challenging goals is that they force you to become more resourceful. When your goal feels too easy, it's easy to coast. You don't have to think too hard. But when your goal is a stretch, you'll start to figure out how to make things work. You'll find new resources, seek help, and get creative with how you approach the problem. You'll start thinking outside the box and finding ways to make things happen that you wouldn't have considered if you'd set a smaller goal. There's also a deep sense of fulfillment that comes from achieving something that truly challenges you. When you set a goal that pushes you beyond your limits, the sense of pride and accomplishment you feel when you achieve it is far greater than anything you would feel if the goal were too easy. You'll look back on the journey, and even though it was tough, you'll be proud of the work you put in and the progress you made. You'll know that you're capable of more than you ever realized, and that realization will fuel you to keep going after even bigger challenges. But remember, while your goals should challenge you, they should also be rooted in reality. A challenging goal isn't about setting yourself up for failure. It's about knowing that you can reach it, but that it will require work. It's about setting a goal that requires growth, effort, and a willingness to learn. As you look at your goals, think about what's going to force you to grow, what's going to challenge you to become the person you need to be in order to reach that next level. If your goal isn't pushing you, then it's time to set a new one. Stretch yourself. Push beyond your comfort zone, because that's where the real magic happens. Growth is uncomfortable, but it's also where your biggest achievements come from. Number 6, eliminate distractions that kill goals. Distractions are everywhere, and they're a major threat to our success. It doesn't matter how clear your goals are or how much effort you put into planning. If you don't learn how to eliminate the distractions that steal your focus, you'll find yourself going in circles and never getting any closer to the life you want. We live in a world filled with noise, constant notifications, endless emails, social media, and a million other things that demand our attention. But the truth is, these distractions are the things that hold us back. If you want to achieve your goals, you need to learn how to cut out the noise. I want you to think about how often you get distracted during the day. We all do it. We check our phones for updates, scroll through social media, look at the latest news, or find other things to fill our time when we know we should be focused on something important. You know what I'm talking about. We've all been there. It's easy to get sidetracked and waste time, but the problem is that every minute you spend on something unrelated to your goals is a minute you can't get back. If you're serious about your goals, you need to protect your time and focus like it's the most precious resource you have, because in many ways, it is. Distractions aren't just a minor inconvenience. They can have a huge impact on your ability to succeed. Think about how much more you could accomplish if you didn't have to constantly fight against these interruptions. Imagine what you could do if you didn't waste time scrolling through your phone or letting your mind wander when you should be working. You could be more productive, more focused, and more driven to reach your goals. But to do that, you need to take control of your environment and eliminate the distractions that hold you back. The first step in eliminating distractions is being aware of what they are. What are the things that pull your attention away from your work? It could be anything from social media to the people around you, to your own thoughts and self-doubt. Take a moment to really think about what keeps you from focusing on what's important. Write it down if you need to. Once you know what your distractions are, you can start to put strategies in place to eliminate or minimize them. For example, let's talk about social media. For many of us, social media is one of the biggest distractions we face. It's easy to get caught up in checking notifications, scrolling through posts, and wasting time on apps that have nothing to do with your goals. But here's the thing, social media is designed to keep you engaged. It's made to grab your attention and pull you away from everything else. If you don't set boundaries, it's going to take more time than you realize. The solution here is simple, but it requires discipline. Set limits on how much time you spend on social media each day. There are apps that can help you track your screen time and block certain websites during work hours. You can even turn off notifications so you're not constantly interrupted. Be honest with yourself. If you find that you're spending too much time on social media or other distractions, it's time to take action. When you're working on your goals, you need to be present. You need to stay focused and use your time wisely. But social media is just one example. Distractions can come in many forms. Sometimes it's the people around you who pull you away from your goals. Maybe a friend or family member keeps asking for your attention when you need to be working. Or perhaps you're spending too much time on tasks that don't align with your main objective. Maybe you're caught up in things that seem urgent but aren't really important in the grand scheme of things. If you don't address these distractions, they will keep you from moving forward. One of the most powerful things you can do is set boundaries. You need to be clear with yourself and others about when you're available and when you're not. If you're working on your goals, tell those around you that you need uninterrupted time to focus. You don't have to be rude or dismissive, but you do need to make it clear that your time is valuable. If someone is constantly interrupting you or pulling you away from what matters, politely let them know that you need to prioritize your work. Another strategy for eliminating distractions is to create a dedicated workspace. When you're trying to focus on your goals, you need a space that's free from interruptions. Whether it's a home office, a coffee shop, or a quiet corner of your house, make sure you have a place where you can work without distractions. If you're constantly working in a noisy or chaotic environment, you're setting yourself up for failure. Your environment plays a huge role in your ability to focus. So take the time to set up a space where you can be productive. It's also important to deal with internal distractions. Sometimes the biggest thing that holds us back is our own mind. You might find that your thoughts are constantly racing, or that you're filled with self-doubt. These internal distractions can be just as damaging as external ones, if not more. If you're constantly telling yourself that you're not good enough, or that your goals are impossible, you're only making it harder to succeed. You need to train your mind to stay focused on the task at hand. One way to do this is through mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness helps you become more aware of your thoughts and feelings, so you can focus on the present moment instead of getting lost in worries or distractions. Whether it's through meditation, journaling, or simply taking a few deep breaths before you start working, mindfulness can help you clear your mind and stay focused. You also need to take care of your physical and mental health. Distractions often arise when you're tired, stressed, or burnt out. If you're not taking care of your body and mind, you'll find it harder to stay focused on your goals. Make sure you're getting enough sleep, eating well, and exercising regularly. Taking care of your health isn't just about feeling good. It's about setting yourself up for success. When you feel good physically, you're more likely to stay focused and productive. I can't stress enough how important it is to stay disciplined when it comes to distractions. We all face them, but it's how we respond that makes the difference. If you give in to distractions every time, you'll find yourself stuck in a cycle of procrastination and inaction. But if you learn to recognize distractions for what they are and take action to eliminate them, you'll find that your productivity increases dramatically. When you eliminate distractions, you create space for growth. You create time to focus on what really matters, your goals. It's not about perfection. You're going to slip up sometimes. You're going to get distracted, and that's okay. The key is to recognize it and get back on track as soon as possible. Number 7, reevaluate and adjust when necessary. Life doesn't always go according to plan. No matter how perfectly you set out your goals, how much effort you put in, or how focused you are, things will change. That's just the way it is. You can have the best intentions, but there will always be bumps along the way. The key here is to recognize that you don't need to be discouraged when things don't go as expected. Instead, you need to reevaluate, adjust, and keep going. Let me ask you this. How often have you set a goal, worked hard toward it, and then realized halfway through that something wasn't working? Maybe it was a goal you thought would be achievable, but you realized you had overestimated yourself. Or maybe life threw you a curveball, and your circumstances changed. I'm sure you've been there. It's happened to all of us. It's easy to feel like you've failed when things don't go according to plan. But failure doesn't exist unless you quit. The truth is, sometimes the most important thing you can do when faced with obstacles or roadblocks is to reassess and make adjustments. Imagine this. You've been working hard, staying focused, and putting in the hours to achieve a specific goal. You've set the plan. You're committed. But then something changes. Your priorities shift. The people around you change. Your environment changes. Suddenly, the plan that seems so clear is now filled with uncertainty. You start to question if you should keep going or if it's time to give up. Let me tell you, that's normal. Life doesn't stop throwing challenges your way, but you have to stay adaptable. And more importantly, you have to be willing to reevaluate your goals and make adjustments as needed. It's crucial that you don't let setbacks derail you. Life happens, things change, and sometimes you have to accept that what you thought was a great goal a few months ago might not be the right fit for your life anymore. It's not about abandoning your dreams. It's about being flexible and adjusting your approach. And that's a skill that separates the successful from the unsuccessful. The people who succeed aren't necessarily the ones who never face challenges. No, they're the ones who are willing to reevaluate their goals and make necessary adjustments to stay on course. There's nothing wrong with realizing that your goals aren't working the way you expected. In fact, it's a sign of strength and awareness. It's easy to keep pushing through something that isn't working because you're afraid of failing. But the real failure comes when you don't adjust or adapt when needed. If you keep pushing toward a goal that's no longer right for you, you're only wasting your time and energy. Reevaluating your goals isn't about giving up. It's about making sure that the time and effort you put in will get you closer to the life you want to live. So how do you reevaluate your goals? First, you need to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. You need to ask yourself a few important questions. Are these goals still aligned with who you are today? Have your circumstances changed? And if so, how can you adjust your plan to match the new reality? Have your priorities shifted in a way that means your current goal is no longer as important as it once was? These questions will give you clarity and help you determine if you need to change course. Let's say you've set a career goal to land a new job in a specific field. But as time goes on, you realize that the field you once thought was your dream is no longer as appealing. Maybe you've gained new skills or discovered new interests, and your goals need to reflect those changes. This isn't a failure. This is growth. Reevaluating your goals in this situation means you're allowing yourself the space to grow and evolve. You're giving yourself permission to change direction and go after something that better aligns with your passions and abilities. That's not quitting. That's being smart and adaptable. Reevaluation also means adjusting your goals when life throws you a curveball. You might be working toward a fitness goal, for example, and then an unexpected injury puts a stop to your progress. You could let that setback discourage you, or you could reevaluate and adjust. Maybe instead of running 5 miles a day, you start with walking or low-impact exercises. Your end goal remains the same, to get healthier, but your approach needs to change. This is the beauty of reevaluation. It allows you to adapt and find new ways to stay on track, even when things aren't going as planned. Sometimes the reevaluation process involves looking at the timeline you've set for your goals. Life happens, and you may not always meet the deadline you originally set. It's important to recognize that it's okay if things take longer than expected. Goals aren't about rigid timelines, they're about progress. The fact that you didn't hit a specific deadline doesn't mean you've failed. It means you need to adjust your plan and continue working toward what you want at your own pace. You don't need to rush. The key is consistency and persistence. Another important aspect of reevaluating your goals is making sure they're still challenging. It's easy to get comfortable with your goals and let them become too easy. But if your goals aren't challenging you anymore, you're not growing. Reevaluating gives you the opportunity to ask yourself, am I being pushed enough? Am I stretching myself? If the answer is no, then it's time to raise the bar. Maybe your goal was to read 5 books this year, and you've already hit that target. Now you can challenge yourself to read 10 books or explore a new subject you've always wanted to learn. The process of reevaluating keeps your goals fresh and exciting, which helps maintain your motivation. You also need to recognize that reevaluating doesn't mean starting from scratch. It's about adjusting and fine-tuning what you've already been working on. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that just because things aren't going perfectly, you need to throw everything out and start over. That's not necessary. It's about tweaking the plan, not abandoning it altogether. If you've been working toward a goal and things aren't going the way you expected, that's just a sign that your approach needs a little fine-tuning. So take a breath, reassess your strategies, and keep going. Ultimately, the ability to reevaluate your goals comes down to being flexible and staying focused on the bigger picture. Don't let one setback, one challenge, or one change in direction make you feel like you've failed. Instead, treat these moments as opportunities for growth. Be willing to adjust and find new ways to move forward. This is the difference between people who give up and people who keep going. The people who keep going are the ones who are willing to face challenges head-on, reassess their situation, and adjust their goals when needed. They don't let obstacles stop them. They use them as stepping stones to keep moving toward their ultimate vision. Remember, goals are not set in stone. They are living, breathing things that can evolve as you evolve. It's okay to change them as long as you're still moving forward. The most important thing is to never stop. Reevaluate when necessary. Adjust when necessary. But always keep moving forward. Your goals are the roadmap to the life you want, and the road might not always be straight. But if you stay flexible and committed, you'll reach your destination. Number 8, developing the habit of setting new goals. Developing the habit of setting new goals is one of the most important skills you can build if you want to continue growing and improving in life. It's easy to get comfortable when you achieve one goal. You finally reach that point where you can say, I did it, I've arrived. And for some, that's enough. They stop there. They stop setting goals. They stop growing. And over time, they start to plateau. But let me tell you, that's not the path to success. If you want to keep moving forward, keep making progress, and keep elevating your life, you've got to get into the habit of setting new goals. And not just any goals, but the right ones. Think about it. If you're not setting new goals, you're essentially standing still. No matter how successful or accomplished you are right now, if you stop pushing yourself forward, eventually you'll fall behind. Life moves fast. The world is constantly changing, and you need to keep evolving with it. Goals give you direction, and as soon as you reach one, it's time to set the next one. This doesn't mean you're never satisfied with where you are. It means you understand that the journey of growth and progress doesn't end. There's always room for more, always room to stretch further, to aim higher. And that's what keeps life exciting. So how do you develop the habit of setting new goals? Well, it starts with understanding why you need them in the first place. Goals are not just about crossing things off a list. They're about creating a vision for your life, about having something to work toward that excites and motivates you. When you don't have goals, you're drifting. You're allowing life to happen to you instead of actively shaping your future. And trust me, that feeling of aimlessness doesn't lead to fulfillment. Think about how it feels when you've accomplished something big. You feel proud, right? There's a sense of satisfaction that comes with crossing a major goal off your list. But after that, if you just sit back and rest on your laurels, that sense of accomplishment starts to fade. you start to feel like there's something missing, like you've hit a plateau. That's when the next goal needs to be set. You need to move the bar higher. You need to aim for something that pushes you outside of your comfort zone, something that challenges you, something that makes you grow. And let me tell you, setting new goals isn't just about aiming higher or doing more. It's about staying in the game. It's about making sure that you never lose sight of your potential. There's a reason why athletes train year-round, even after they've won championships. It's because they know that there's always more they can achieve. They know that if they stop, someone else will pass them by. It's the same in life. You have to keep going, even when you've had a win. You have to keep pushing to see just how far you can go. When you make setting new goals a habit, it becomes second nature. You start to look at life as a series of opportunities for growth, not just as a series of tasks to get through. Every time you reach one goal, you don't stop and take a permanent break. Instead, you look around and say, what's next? How can I challenge myself more? What's the next level? This constant drive for self-improvement is what sets high achievers apart from the rest. It's not that they're any smarter, luckier, or more talented. It's that they've learned the art of setting new goals consistently. And they don't just set any goals, they set goals that push them to become better versions of themselves. One of the most powerful things about consistently setting new goals is that it keeps your mind sharp. When you're actively working towards something, you stay focused. You stay engaged. Your energy is directed towards something meaningful. But when you're not setting goals, when you're just coasting through life, it's easy to become distracted, to get sidetracked by things that don't matter. The key to staying on track and staying productive is to keep setting goals that are aligned with your purpose, with your vision for your life. Goals give you something to work toward, and they give you the focus and the drive to keep moving forward. Now, setting new goals doesn't mean you have to be constantly working yourself into the ground. It doesn't mean you have to set goals that are so big and overwhelming that they drain you. The key is to set goals that are both meaningful and manageable. They need to excite you, but they also need to be realistic enough that you can actually work toward them. If you set a goal that's too far out of reach, you'll only end up discouraged when you don't achieve it. But if you set goals that challenge you, that push you to stretch yourself, you'll stay motivated and keep moving forward. The process of goal setting also involves looking at your life as a whole. It's not just about the big external achievements. Yes, you might have career goals, fitness goals, financial goals, and personal development goals. But you also need to consider goals that focus on your well-being, your relationships, your mental and emotional health. These are just as important as the professional or external goals you set. When you set goals for every aspect of your life, you're creating a balanced life that nurtures all parts of you, not just the parts that the world sees. So what does it look like to set new goals regularly? Well, it starts with taking the time to reflect on your current situation. Look at where you are and ask yourself, is this where I want to be? Is this the best I can do? If the answer is no, then it's time to set a new goal. Think about what's important to you. Think about where you want to go. Don't be afraid to dream big, but also be realistic about what you can accomplish in a given time frame. Break your goals down into manageable steps, and then commit to doing something every day to get closer to them. As you achieve goals, don't forget to celebrate the progress you've made. But remember, the goal isn't the end. It's part of the journey. And once you've reached one goal, the real key is to start thinking about what's next. It's not about being dissatisfied with what you've accomplished. It's about staying hungry for more. The habit of setting new goals isn't something you do once in a while when you feel like it. It's something you do consistently. It's about understanding that growth is a lifelong pursuit. And every time you hit a goal, you're just leveling up for the next one. When setting new goals becomes a habit, it becomes a part of your identity. You start to see yourself as someone who is always improving, always evolving, always pushing the boundaries of what's possible. You don't ever want to be in a position where you feel like you've done enough. The truth is, there's always more you can achieve. There's always room to grow, to expand, to evolve. Setting new goals is how you keep moving forward. It's how you keep your life exciting and full of possibilities. The more you do it, the easier it gets. It becomes second nature. So make it a habit. Don't just set one goal and stop. Keep going and watch how your life transforms. Because the minute you stop setting new goals, that's when you stop growing, and that's when you start falling behind. Keep moving forward, keep setting new goals, and you'll continue to reach new heights. Number 9, the emotional drive behind your goals. The emotional drive behind your goals is what fuels you when the going gets tough. It's easy to start something when the idea of success is fresh and exciting. But it's not always that simple when you're in the middle of the journey, and things aren't progressing as fast as you hoped. Maybe you hit a few roadblocks. Maybe you're doubting your ability, or maybe life has thrown you a curveball that makes it even harder to stay on track. That's where your emotional drive comes in. It's what keeps you going when you feel like giving up. It's what pushes you to keep moving, even when you're tired, frustrated, or feel like the odds are stacked against you. When you set a goal, it's not just a mental decision. It has to connect to something deep within you, something emotional. This connection is crucial because it transforms the goal from a simple task to a mission you care about. Without this emotional drive, your goal might feel like just another item on your to-do list. And trust me, that's not the kind of motivation that will carry you through the tough times. You need to attach your goal to something that moves you. It has to be something that resonates with your values, your desires, and your deeper purpose. That's how you build the kind of emotional commitment that will get you through the hard days. Take a moment to think about a time when you really accomplished something that felt meaningful to you. It wasn't just the achievement that mattered, right? It was how you felt during and after the process. Maybe you were working towards something personal, something that had real meaning to you. When you reached that milestone, you didn't just feel proud because you had ticked something off a list. You felt something deeper, an emotional satisfaction, a sense of fulfillment. That's the power of emotional drive. When you can tie your goals to emotions that matter to you, it gives you the energy to keep going, even when you face challenges or setbacks. A big part of finding that emotional drive is being clear about why you want what you want. You need to ask yourself some tough questions. Why do you want this goal? What does it mean for your life? What will it feel like when you achieve it? When you can answer these questions with real conviction, you tap into something powerful. You're no longer working toward a goal just because it sounds good or because someone told you it was a good idea. You're working toward it because it connects to something deeply personal, something that matters to you on a fundamental level. Let's say you set a goal to improve your health. You could say, I want to get in better shape, and leave it at that. But there's not much emotional power in that. It's vague. It's not really tied to anything you can truly get excited about. Now think about the difference. If you were to say, I want to get healthier so I can be more active with my kids and be there for them as they grow up. I want to feel confident in my own skin and have more energy to enjoy life to the fullest. Now that goal is tied to something meaningful. It's no longer just about looking good or hitting a certain number on the scale. It's about living a better life, being there for the people who matter most, and feeling more alive and energized. This emotional connection is what turns a regular goal into something that will drive you through the difficult times. But it's not just about identifying the emotional reasons behind your goals. It's about using those emotions to keep yourself motivated when things get hard. Life is unpredictable, and you can't always count on smooth sailing. Some days you'll feel like everything is going wrong. Maybe you didn't see the progress you hoped for. Maybe you're facing new challenges that make it harder to stay on track. This is where your emotional drive will either carry you through or let you down. When you encounter those tough times, it's easy to give in to discouragement. You might start thinking that your goal is too big, or that maybe you weren't cut out for it. It's important to recognize those thoughts for what they are. Temporary feelings that will pass. The key is to remind yourself why you started in the first place. Tap into the emotions that you tied to your goal. Think about how it will feel when you finally reach it. Think about the pride, the satisfaction, the joy that will come from knowing that you kept going, even when it was hard. The emotional drive behind your goals isn't just about feeling good when you succeed. It's also about keeping your energy high during the process. And that energy is what helps you power through the tough times. When you're emotionally connected to a goal, you don't just give up at the first sign of trouble. You keep going, because you understand that the process is part of the journey. Every obstacle you overcome makes you stronger and brings you closer to that emotional payoff. The road might be tough, but that emotional connection to your goal is what makes it worth it. One of the most powerful things you can do is visualize the emotions you will experience once you reach your goal. Don't just think about the physical or tangible rewards. Think about the emotional rewards. How will you feel when you've accomplished what you set out to do? Picture the pride you'll feel when you look back and realize that you stuck with it, even when things got tough. Imagine the sense of fulfillment that will come from knowing you gave it your all, no matter what. When you can visualize those emotions, it strengthens your resolve to keep going, even when things aren't going as planned. Another important part of emotional drive is understanding that setbacks are part of the process. It's easy to get discouraged when you face challenges, but remember, challenges don't mean you've failed. They mean you're growing, and growing is never a smooth ride. If your emotional drive is strong enough, you'll be able to see setbacks as opportunities to learn, rather than signs that you're not cut out for success. Every time you face an obstacle, you're presented with a choice. You can let it stop you, or you can use it to fuel your determination and keep moving forward. When you tie your goals to emotions that matter to you, you create a lasting commitment to your success. The emotional connection helps you stick with it through thick and thin. It gives you the strength to keep going when you feel like you don't have the energy to continue. And it keeps you moving forward, even when the results aren't immediate. Because when your emotions are tied to your goal, the journey becomes just as important as the destination. Number 10. The decision to be serious about goals. The decision to be serious about your goals. It might sound simple, but the power of that decision is immense. It's easy to say you want something, but saying it and truly committing to it are two different things. There's a big difference between saying you want to be successful and actually taking the steps required to make it happen. The decision to be serious about your goals is the point where your dreams start to turn into reality. It all starts with this decision. If you're serious about your goals, you'll take the necessary actions every single day, no matter how small they may seem. You'll commit to the process, not just the result. And that means making sacrifices, getting uncomfortable, and doing things that might not be easy or glamorous. This is what sets people who succeed apart from those who fall short. Being serious about your goals means understanding that you can't have it all if you're not willing to put in the work. There's a certain level of responsibility that comes with setting a goal, and that responsibility requires you to show up day after day. It's not enough to get excited about a goal one day and then let it slip away when things get hard or when distractions come up. When you make the decision to be serious, you are committing to your goal no matter what happens. And believe me, there will be challenges along the way. But when you're serious about your goals, those challenges don't stop you. Instead, you see them as part of the process, and you keep moving forward. One of the most important aspects of being serious about your goals is understanding that there will be moments of doubt. There will be days when you question whether it's all worth it. You might wonder if you're on the right path, or if you're capable of achieving what you set out to do. This is where the decision to be serious becomes even more important. It's easy to be motivated when things are going well, but it's when things get tough that you need to dig deep and remind yourself why you started. You have to choose to keep going, even when it feels easier to quit. I'm sure you've heard the saying, if it was easy, everyone would do it. It's true. Most people never reach their full potential because they quit when it gets hard, or they allow the distractions of life to take them off course. But when you make the decision to be serious about your goals, you've made a commitment to yourself that no matter what, you're going to keep going. You'll push through the setbacks. You'll rise above the difficulties. You won't let excuses hold you back. And when you make that decision, something powerful happens. You begin to take responsibility for your success. When you're serious about your goals, it's not just about saying the right words or thinking positive thoughts. It's about taking consistent action. It's about waking up every day with the mindset that today is the day you move closer to your goal, even if it's just one small step. The decision to be serious is the decision to act, whether you feel like it or not. You don't wait for motivation to strike. You create it through your actions. And the more consistent you are with those actions, the more momentum you build. A big part of being serious about your goals is eliminating distractions. Life has a way of pulling us in different directions. We get caught up in things that don't matter. And before we know it, the days slip by. But when you've made the decision to be serious about your goals, you learn to prioritize. You get rid of the things that aren't helping you move forward. You focus your time and energy on what really matters. And this doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you've made a conscious choice to put your goals first. In order to be serious about your goals, you also need to be realistic. You need to acknowledge that success doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen without effort. Some people give up too soon because they expect quick results, but that's not how it works. True success takes time, persistence, and consistent effort. So when you decide to be serious, you need to understand that the journey is just as important as the destination. You're committing to the process, not just the end result. There are going to be times when you'll feel like you've hit a wall. There will be times when progress seems slow and frustration creeps in. But when you've made the decision to be serious, those moments don't stop you. Instead, you find ways to keep going. You don't let frustration become an excuse to quit. You find ways to push through and keep moving forward. That's the power of being serious about your goals. It keeps you going when everything else says to stop. Another key element of being serious about your goals is learning to stay focused. It's easy to get distracted by other people's opinions, by other people's success, and by all the noise in the world. But when you're serious, you tune out the distractions. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop worrying about what everyone else is doing and focus on your own path. This focus is what allows you to make real progress. It's what enables you to stay on track and keep your eyes on the prize. Being serious about your goals also means being accountable. When you take responsibility for your own success, you stop blaming external circumstances for your lack of progress. You stop waiting for someone else to motivate you or give you permission to succeed. You take full ownership of your journey. If you don't achieve your goal, you don't look for someone else to blame. You ask yourself, what could I have done differently? What can I learn from this? And then you use that knowledge to keep moving forward. When you make the decision to be serious about your goals, you also commit to personal growth. You understand that in order to achieve what you want, you have to become the kind of person who can handle that level of success. You have to grow in skills, mindset, and discipline. This is a continuous process, and it's one that never ends. The moment you stop growing is the moment you stop moving forward. So when you decide to be serious about your goals, you're also deciding to commit to constant growth and improvement. Let's not forget that being serious about your goals is not just about achieving success. It's about becoming the best version of yourself in the process. It's about proving to yourself that you can follow through, no matter what. And that's where the real reward lies. Yes, achieving your goal feels great, but the person you become along the way is even more important. The strength, the resilience, the character you build through the pursuit of your goals, that's the true value of the journey. Ultimately, the decision to be serious about your goals is the foundation of all success. Without that decision, everything else is just talk. It's the difference between being a spectator in your own life and being the one who takes charge. When you decide to be serious, you step into your power. You stop letting life happen to you, and you start making life happen for you. And that's when everything begins to change. So make the decision today. Be serious about your goals. Commit to them with everything you've got, and watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible.